on Augusta Street in Greenville's West End.
Oh no, we're live!
Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free.
We're having trouble streaming to your destination.
That's like hitting a hole in one without even trying.
You know, I looked yesterday, and there's supposed to be a player on there, and I don't even see the player. So,
fans go to cheer on their team.
do you see the player on there?
Behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy.
All right, we know we're on early, but we're testing something just in case.
Starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry.
Yeah, I'm on the website. There's supposed to be a player that's dormant when we're not on there.
Grainger.
Supposed to have some sort of message or something, and I do not see that. And I wonder if they never actually installed the player.
And that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions. Plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We're not doing it today.
Celebrate Greenville's music scene every Thursday at Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, presented by Clemson MBA. Join us for a free admission outdoor street party featuring live music in Noma Square on the Carolina Foothills stage. Thursday evenings, March 17th through August 25th. Visit gvilleevents.com for more info.
The Rob Brown Show, now 9 to noon.
Offsides with Mark Ryan, 3 to 7 p.m. Real sports talk for real sports fans.
Only on the Fan. Upstate.
The Fan. The Fan.
Upstate.
The Fan.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville. The
Prism
official
first
sports
break.
voice of you, the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. An Odyssey station.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown
Would you take it off? Okay.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show. Get robbed. Only on
The Fan. Upstate.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to another 3 hours of sports talk excellence. How do you do, upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What up, world? The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Great to be with you. Happy Wednesday, hump day. Starts right now. I am Rob. The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for joining us directly across the glass from me. The guy in charge of the broadcast. He is the professor of perfection. The great one, Lonzo, is along for, he's not along for a ride. He's driving the car. I'm just the guy in the front seat babbling on while Lonzo gets us where we need to be. What up, Zoe?
You know, one thing that I had forgotten about, and I'm glad I forgot about, but unfortunately I've been refreshed, is about the wonderful traffic when you have to come in a little bit earlier. So, this is for all you kids out there. Learn alternate routes. Don't rely on your GPS. Learn alternate routes so you can get to work.
So you got to just update it. My GPS now gives me alternate routes. It's like, yo, this road sucks. Do you want to do this one instead? YOLO, let's do it. Of course I do. Of course I do. Welcome to technology, y'all.
Those alternate routes, though, that they give you are not always the best ones. Sometimes just go out when you're new. Rob, I'm sure already did this. When you're new to an area, just go out and explore a little bit. Just explore, just in case. Like, let's say, oops, I forgot my phone. It does happen sometimes. How do I get where I need to go? I know it's very old-fashioned. I'm not saying pull out a map or something. Just travel around the area and try to find different ways to get to work other than, sorry, boss, Don't know how to get there.
Lonzo texted me an hour before the show and was like, hey, I'm going to be there in like an hour and 15 minutes, which is not great. Which is not great. Because, again, I haven't done the new show yet. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same as the old show, but the expectation of greatness, the mantle that has been bestowed on Lonzo and I requires Lonzo to be here for it to happen. It's just that simple. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to be late on purpose one day just so Chris does have to come in here since he didn't want to so badly. I don't think it has anything to do with you. It's just it made it sound like.
Of course not. There's nobody who doesn't want to work with me.
Well, absolutely. Now, other people, that's a totally different story. I think he feels like since he's been, elevated to engineering that, touching the board is beneath him. And that kind of hurts. It does.
Ladies and gentlemen, got a big show lined up for you today. NBA play-in tournament got its start yesterday evening, and we got a pair of really good games. 115-108, the Nets down the Cavaliers, which of course they did. The Cavs were missing 2 of their 3 big men. The Cavs were interesting this year. A team that decided to go big had 3 7-footers on the roster, but 2 of them were out last night, so their rebounding potential went dramatically down. Their second chance points opportunities went dramatically down, and with Kyrie and KD both on the floor for the Brooklyn Nets, it was an easy pickup for them. The Nets win 105-108, or 115-108, excuse me.
I watched a good little bit of this game, and when I started watching, the Cavs were down by 20 points. And then in the second half, they started coming back. I haven't watched the Cavs in a long time. It's good to know that Kevin Love still exists and is still better than you people think he is.
Kevin Love was one of 2 reasons the Cavs were even in the game last night down the stretch. Guy was effectively responsible for locking down everything inside of 9 feet. But Kyrie started 10 of 10 from the floor. I don't know how you beat a team when their best player's going 10 of 10 from the field.
Yeah,
That's tough to stop.
That's pretty bad, and the announcer's pointing out, there's another one. He's perfect so far. It's like he's going to miss eventually, isn't he?
It didn't feel like he was going to. Dude started 10 for 10, ended up on the night going 12 of 15 from the floor, 3 of 6 from deep, 7 of 7 from the stripe, 34 points for Kyrie Irving, 25 for Kevin Durant, 9 of 16 from the floor, 1 of 2 from behind the arc, 6 of 6 from the stripe. Andre Drummond had 16. He pitched in alongside Bruce Brown, who had 18. How about the other Curry, Seth Curry? No points, 0 of 4 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, did not get to the stripe at all. And despite all of that, despite the fact that he had 0 points, Lonzo, he was +5 in the plus-minus category. That's insane.
I don't know how that's possible, especially with all the iron he was hitting. Everything he threw up, doink, doink, doink. I mean, it was ugly.
The plus-minus stat is all it does is keep track of the net change in the score when you are on the floor, right? So when you enter the game, if the Nets are up 10 and you enter the floor, even if you go out there and put up 15, if they score 20, your plus-minus is -5, which means that Seth Curry, with his 0, was still on the floor at a point in time that the Nets extended their lead by 5 points with a guy not hitting anything. That's impressive. 115-108, your final there. In the other one that we had last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves. How about the T-Wolves moving on to a matchup Friday that they will wait to see who the win, or excuse me, they move into the first round of the playoffs. By way of the loss last night, the 2 teams that dropped L's last night will now play the winners of the 2 games that take place tonight. The Clippers fall to the T-Wolves 109-104. The Cavs fall to the Nets 115-108. Both of them will have games on Friday night. The Cavaliers will play at 7:30 against the winner of the 9-10 game out of the East. The Clippers will play at 10 p.m. on TNT against the 9-10 winner out of the West. We have coming up tonight those two games, 7 o'clock, Hornets and Hawks. Atlanta will host Charlotte. The winner of that game will then take on the loser of last night's game, the Cavaliers, on Friday night. Then tonight at 9:30, the San Antonio Spurs will be on the road at the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pels, the 9 seed, the Spurs, the 10. The winner of that game will move on to Friday night when they travel to LA to take on the Clippers. That's how our play-in tournament starts so far, and it's been good. Good. There were some spots down the stretch where there was some NBA play that got a little spotty. Those two games last night were remarkable. And Keegan brought up what we all had to watch. There was an interruption yesterday evening during the Clippers-Timberwolves play-in game where they were, in fact, for a minute there, the play-by-play crew thought it was an arena staff member who had fallen on the floor.
And then they were worried about blood, but it wasn't blood.
Yeah. There was a woman who was escorted off the floor, and the play-by-play crew was like, oh, a staff member has fallen on the floor. They are escorting, and they showed kind of a distant camera view of this woman. And when I saw her being escorted off the floor, I was like, yo, that is not Staff Arena. Something weird just happened. Well, during that game, while the Timberwolves were shooting free throws, a woman entered the field of play and apparently attempted to glue herself to the floor. According to TNT sideline reporter Allie LaForce, security guard, which is a great wrestling name, by the way.
That's
Allie
awesome.
LaForce.
Yeah, she could be world champion.
LaForce said security guards told her the woman attempted to glue herself to the floor by her wrist and refused to lift her wrist up. The reason for the interruption was not immediately known. However, following the incident, a global grassroots network of animal rights activists named Direct Action Everywhere claimed responsibility for the protest, saying in a press release it was in response to an alleged animal rights issue at Timberwolves owner Glenn Taylor's egg farm. End quote.
Okay, so it has to do with chickens. Okay, I was just, first of all, I was like, okay, were they mean to the mascot? They have a Timberwolf as a mascot?
Defending the T-Wolf
Yeah.
from animal abuse. Woman tried to glue herself by her wrist. By the way, a couple of things here. Number one, do you know how glue works? Right?
Yeah, it takes a little bit to dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, in what world do you think I'm going glue to the ground and, like, hang on, security guards, in, like, 4 to 6 minutes, this protest is going to go great?
And there's a coating on that floor. Would probably make it a little bit harder for glue to stick to it.
I have no idea. I mean, I know those floors are made to not be, I mean, sticky, tacky for shoes, but not like arts and crafts, you know?
I don't think adhesives work too well. Her better bet would have probably been to go like to the stanchion or to the, something metal maybe. I don't know.
Her better bet would have just been have a sign. Just have a sign. Like, you walked on the floor, you went glue to the ground, you were removed in literally seconds, which again, I don't do a lot of stuff that involves glue nowadays, but I did do arts and crafts in kindergarten. And when I did arts and crafts in kindergarten, I specifically remember my teacher multiple times saying, once you put the two things with glue together, you have to hold them together for a few minutes for the glue to dry. Terrible protest idea. Like, just run across the floor with the sign that says stop animal cruelty. That's a better way. At least your message gets out. Instead, your message was that person's bad at protesting.
Yeah, but you've run across the floor during the game, you're probably going to get trampled. So I think there's some fear involved there.
I'm going to give her credit. She did it at the right time. She waited till the team was shooting free throws on the opposite side of the court, which, for the record, not great for visibility, right? Like, nobody's got the cameras pointed at the empty end of the floor while Vanderbilt's at the other end knocking down FTs.
Was that a success?
No.
From a protest standpoint, was it a success?
Literally, the only reason we know what this is her organization put out a press conference taking credit for it, and everybody's like, "What were you? What were you protesting?"
And we have no proof that actually was that organization.
Right.
Because we don't know. Has she come out and said she was affiliated with the
all
organization?
the time you see people protesting, you see like 9 organizations take credit for it. Oh yeah, that was definitely us, because it gets them on the news, right? Has anybody heard of DA? Here, let me say it this way. Lonzo, 30 seconds ago, I told you the name of the organization taking credit. What was it?
It was an animal rights thing,
what was the name of
but
it?
I don't remember.
Right.
No.
Right.
I mean, it's not like the famous one, which I'm not going to mention, but,
Listen.
The one that they send out naked people to protest all the time, as if that really does anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes me walk around you to get to my steak. Love it. Listen, I'm not telling you guys to go interrupt sporting events with protest. All right, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you, if you are going to do it, just think about it for a second, right? Like, don't make kindergarten level mistakes. Number one, protest where the cameras are, right? You went out and glued yourself to the floor where there was nothing happening, right?
Yeah, and I'm guessing that you paid for your ticket, and those tickets are not cheap.
It's a playoff game.
Yeah, so you paid a lot of money to get out there to try to be visible, and you failed.
Yeah. Look, if I go outside today to protest something, but I go stand behind our building with a sign, I'm not really doing anything. Protest where there are people. That's a big start. Number 2, basic thought here, people. If your point of protest is to disrupt something for attention, I get it. I get it. But think about how you're doing it. You would have been better served to have run out into the free throw lane and like taken your shirt off and laid down underneath the free throw shooter, right? Then you get some attention. We still don't know who the hell you are, what the hell you want, but at least you're on TV. Step 3, do you understand why every protester ever has carried a sign? Because then we know what you're doing. All I knew last night was there was a protester who was so bad at her job that the play-by-play guys were like, oh, a arena staff member fell down. And then once they were out, they're like, is that blood on the floor? No, it was glue, apparently. Do you know what a better protest would have been, Lonzo? Honestly? Take like 6 glue bottles and just run up and down the floor dumping them out, right? Take you some rubber cement. Take like 2 things of rubber cement, walk out there, and just dump them on the floor. Then we'd have had to stop the game to clean the crap off the floor and dry it back out, et cetera, et cetera. You would have at least delayed the game for a little while and then had time for people to talk about what the hell you were doing. Your entire protest lasted 1.77 seconds.
All right, so there was a famous song that some people may have heard of, depending on your demographic, called The Streak. And in that song, something happened at a basketball playoff. That streaker went in and made a free throw. Well, not a free throw, made a layup. So if you're going to do it, if she comes out, it's not like we're saying, hey, be naked. But if you're naked, you run out, you steal the ball, and you make a layup, you probably did a whole lot more than trying to glue yourself to the floor.
Just like anything would have been better. Anything. All right. That's enough time on that. Let's get back to the sports, shall we?
Just read the last line, please. Please, you will love it.
On the Facebook stream, facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. Subscribe, like to that channel. You can watch the show live as we do it. Seb says, looks like failed execution by them. That is a shell of a joke, Seb. Well done. That's what I like about this stream. People just come in and yoke it up. you know?
Didn't want you to miss a pun opportunity. So,
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Just looking out, man.
There's the potential for dozens of cracking puns based on this story. Got to appreciate that. Got to appreciate that. Y'all got to slow down, though, because the Lonzo, the comment stream is getting scrambled, you know? Anyway. Let's take a break, see if I have a job when I come back. My name is Rob Brown. The great Lonzo's at the board. We got plenty more we're going to talk about, not including protesters. 2 of Deshaun Watson's civil cases could see a courtroom before July. However, there are some folks that think Deshaun will play this year because the rest of them may be pushed until after the season, and a settlement's still possible. We'll give you the latest update on that. Plus, the most "are you kidding me" story ever about the most unfortunate kid to ever go to a hockey game. Tell you about that when we come back. I'm Rob, he's Lonzo, and this is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Prisma.
Prisma?
Prisma.
What's cracking? It's Rome here. Playmakers, you know it. Mark Ryan, Rob Brown.
10 varieties Skippy peanut butter, 2 for $4. Select varieties 32-ounce Zep cleaner, 2 for $6. And select 48
Just a theory here,
Crisco
and I could be
oil, 2
wrong,
for
but I don't think
$7.
Rob's ever heard the
Ingles,
Straight
low prices,
song
love
before.
the savings.
What you do now will determine how green and healthy your lawn will be this
And
summer.
I could play it, but if I play it, you guys won't be able to hear it
takes all
because
the
of,
guesswork
you
out
know,
of properly fertilizing
laws
your lawn
and
and treating
stuff.
it for weeds. The program includes all the fertilizers, weed controls, lime, and other
That song was out in
nutrients
like
your
the
lawn will
early
need for the
70s, so
entire
it
year.
is
Top
it
Turf
is
guarantees
possible.
results.
Thank you, Stephen. By the way, I was stuck in traffic for a really long time, so I'm a little bit behind on things. Not that I wouldn't make that mistake any other time. Rob has been stopped in the hall and is having a conversation. I can tell because Rob talks really loud, so you could hear him talking in the hallway. So I knew he was close. You ever heard the song The Streak before?
I have not.
Told you.
I Googled it when you mentioned it.
I thought I saw that. What are you talking about? Kind of look.
You did?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
That's okay, because I'm old. Yes, Steven, the Stranger Things trailer is wicked. I have a theory. I think the bad guy's actually Barb. I do. I think it's her. We're going to find out in the end. There's like one more season after this. It's Barb.
What day does the new moon? What day does Moon Knight drop on?
Today.
Today?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, I hate those small liners. 3 seconds long.
Play making tacos. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. A brief note of congratulations. If you're a baseball fan, you saw this last night. Alyssa Nacken is a full-time coach for the San Francisco Giants. Last night, she got the call, we need you to be an on-the-field coach. We need you to coach first base. So last night, Alyssa Nacken became the first, she was already the first full-time female coach. She achieved that back in January of 2020. Last night, Alyssa Nacken became the first woman to on-field coach in a regular season game. Coached first base for the Giants last night. Did a good job. So congratulations to Alyssa Nacken. Just another little bit of history being notched for women in sports. Love to see it. Congratulations. Well done to Alyssa and to the Giants for making that happen. Wanted to get into some NIL stuff for just a minute. Won't spend a ton of time on it, but I find it interesting because about 5 days ago, Clemson announced that they would be starting an organization, not the school itself because it can't be university affiliated directly, but it is being endorsed by Clemson. Clemson Athletics and Director of Athletics Graham Neff are proud, according to a press release, are proud to announce the next generation of the Tigers' name, image, and likeness programming dubbed the Clemson Reign, R-E-I-G-N. Clemson's multifaceted program is aggressive, comprehensive, education-focused, and suited to the ever-changing landscape. Neff said, quote, "We've talked for a while about our intent to become more aggressive in the NIL environment, and I feel that REIGN personifies that notion. While many of these services have been available to our student athletes since last year, our department has worked tirelessly to evolve our NIL philosophy. It's critical that our student athletes have the education and tools to succeed in this area, and that our coaches have a direct way to address the questions they receive on the recruiting trail. NIL is ever-changing, and we will continue to monitor, adapt, and innovate." So, at a point in time, and again, want to stress that despite his comments from this past weekend, Dabo Swinney reiterated multiple times he is not against NIL. He is against the, quote, professionalization, end quote, of college sports. Says that he does not want to see players getting salaries and scholarships effectively being turned into hirings and firings of student athletes. Although, by the way, keep in mind, scholarships are one-year deals that you renew every year, right? So kids lose scholarships all the time.
Contracts, if you will.
Contracts, if you will. And this is the old system. This is not the new system. This isn't anything new. This is the way it's been. So, despite the belief that college sports, college football predominantly needs to be blown up by Dabo Swinney, Clemson became one of a handful of schools that has opened up an NIL center specifically to help their athletes accomplish more on the NIL front. Well, yesterday, they added another NIL collective. A new image and likeness, new name, image and likeness collective was announced yesterday, designed to promote and assist charitable organizations while also putting money in student athletes' pockets, according to Scott Kiefer of the Greenville News. The organization is called Tiger Impact, and it was founded by former Clemson football players Rich Davies, Kendall Alley, and Kevin Gemus. It launched with more than $5.5 million in commitments and 12 current Clemson athletes working on behalf of community charities. Alley said, quote, "We are introducing a purpose-driven name, image, and likeness collective called Tiger Impact. It's a grassroots initiative started by people who love Clemson and supported by Clemson faithful," end quote. This organization, which is now, as we mentioned, the second NIL initiative tied to Clemson athletes, which joins Reign in that field, is designed to assist athletes in capitalizing on their name, image, and likenesses for financial gain by providing best-in-class tools to facilitate that, including the construction of the Clemson Athletics Branding Institute adjacent to the Poe Indoor Practice Facility. There are 12 athletes who have already joined this collective. Brian Breesy from the football team, along with Bo Collins, Miles Murphy from the football team, as well as Rook Orororo. Football player Will Shipley is involved as well. All of them are attaching their NILs to this collective, but they are doing so with the premise of using their NIL endorsements to support charities. Breesy is supporting Prisma Health Children's Hospital in Greenville. Bo Collins is supporting Collins Children's Home in Seneca. Miles Murphy is supporting the George and Rosina Shaw Center for Housing and Economic Growth in Clemson. Orhororo is joining the Little John Community Center in Clemson. And Shipley is joining the Atrium Health Levine Children's Hospital in Charlotte. Trenton Simpson's involved with the Boys and Girls Club. Softball player Valerie Cagle with the End Shelter in Seneca. Basketball player P.J. Hall, the Carolina Miracle League in Spartanburg. Women's soccer player Renee Lyles is joining a charity called Soccer in the Streets Atlanta. Men's soccer player Isaiah Reed is supporting the Boys and Girls Club of York County. Women's basketball player Amari Robinson is supporting Clemson's Life program. And volleyball player McKenna Slavic is joining with Anderson County Paws. So I guess what I'm ultimately saying here is that it's a list of athletes that have decided to join in order to support charitable organizations, right? I think that one thing that has happened as we watch these NIL rules and transfer portals and all this come down the pipe is that a lot of people want to immediately assume the worst about the players. Oh, they just want to get rich and it's going to take away from everything else they do. And yet, here are 12 athletes, the initial 12, there will be more, but here are 12 athletes from Clemson who have joined this NIL collective with the main objective being, I want to give back to the community, either the one I'm in or the one I came from.
We don't always need to assume the worst about these college kids. Some of them are good kids. In fact, I would argue probably a lot of them, if not most of them, are good kids. Here's a bunch that are going to leverage their NIL capabilities to help out different charitable organizations across the Southeast, from Atlanta to Charlotte to Greenville to Spartanburg to Clemson. That's fantastic. I think a lot of people's perspective on giving players more, whether it's power or opportunity within the current system, a lot of people's perspective would change if we stopped assuming the worst about these kids, right? Oh, they just want more. They just want to take. Well, here's 12 of them who helped prop up a new NIL collective with one goal: philanthropy. Let's help organizations that need help, whether it's financial backing or whatever. Let's help these organizations in ways that they can benefit off of our NIL just like we do. Stop assuming that all these kids are entitled or lazy or this or that or whatever. I'm sure that there are. But I'm sure that there are in, I don't know, every job, workspace, and organization ever. Every one of them has entitled, selfish, greedy, self-centered people in it. I'm sure there are a bunch of athletes who fit that description. But here's an organization propped up by a dozen athletes who said, you know, I got the chance to make a little money here by being a football player or a starting soccer player on the NCAA defending national champions team or on the women's basketball team or volleyball team or whatever. I got the opportunity to get the bag myself. I'm going to invest some of that back into my community, whether it's a pet shelter or a shelter for battered women or a shelter for those who find themselves homeless for situations outside of their control. Here is an organization propped up by a dozen kids who said, I am going to use my power, I'm going to use my potential to put back in my community. Maybe if you treat these kids like adults, maybe if you treat these kids like intelligent people, instead of just assuming they're all entitled, selfish people, maybe you'd be impressed by some of the good they do. Case in point, right here. And I think it's a good one. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1. Coming up at 10:20 this morning, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Greenville Triumph. Head coach John Harkes will join us here on the show. If you missed the announcement, welcome out from under that rock you've been hiding under. Next Wednesday, the Greenville Triumph have their next home match, and it is against Charlotte FC. No, that was not a verbal typo. An MLS side is coming right here to little old Greenville. The Triumph take on Charlotte FC in what I think might be the biggest sporting event in the upstate ever. John Harkes will join us to talk about that at 10:20. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. hi. Hey, Ron. But my daughter's club goalie coach will be the goalie coach for the Liberty. Oh, that's awesome. Cool, man. I'm pumped about the Liberty. Very pumped about the Liberty. Lady friend and I will be there for all of it.
Just want to watch myself creep across the screen once, then watch myself creep across again in the background. There we go. Can I actually see the third one? Nah, my arms are too long to be Zorex. Although I kind of like that name. To use it for something. I know one thing, not trying to sound like old man, but I hope my day goes better today.
Me too, buddy.
11 hours kind of sucks. That's cool, Steven. I don't know if Rob addressed that or not. Or Ron. Ron might have addressed it. But that is really cool.
That Ron guy.
Did you see it?
It is awesome.
Are you ready for week number 2 of your nationally syndicated sports show?
No, but I'm going to do my best anyway.
The only nationally syndicated sports show on this station? Others may want it really bad. I'm guessing it was addressed yesterday. I saw a lot of texts.
Did you?
Yeah. Wasn't quite sure what it was, but, you know.
Well, I may have to go back and do a little scrolling then, eh?
Good luck to those people. I don't have one, but I don't begrudge the guy who does. Pretty proud to be in association of that person. Sounds like a lot of work to me. And one thing that I don't know if you knew this about me, but I am lazy. There's a way to get out of work, I'm doing it.
Hey, look, it's that guy from that business that nobody cares about making his giant on TV debut. That would be Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Hey, dude, what the heck are you doing? Okay, I guess you're taking a picture. Oh, taking a picture of geese. Or a video of the geese. That's what he's doing. Okay. Buddy's on.
The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be back with you. I am Rob. He is Zoe. You know what we have not gotten to break out in a little while, Lonzo? Let me tell you this story and see if you follow where I'm going. The PGA just had the Masters at Augusta National, the Super Bowl of golf. It is the world's biggest golf tournament. People from around the world come to play in it. Every year provides incredible entertainment. Great tournament, great course, great scenery, great settings. I acknowledge that it's a little pompous. That's part of the fun in it. Every now and then you got to be a little pompous. It's us 1%ers, Lonzo. You know?
I would say I want to live vicariously through you, but I don't. I'll stay down here. Way down here.
You 99%er you. Well, the PGA Tour has competition. The Saudi-backed Rebel Golf Circuit. That's not what it's called. I just like calling it the Rebel Golf Circuit.
Is that where Phil is?
That's where Phil wanted to go. And then Phil literally said, yeah, I know that they're murderers and hardcore civil rights abusers, but they got lots of money. And then got in trouble for it because, yeah, that's how that was going to work. Well, Greg Norman, the two-time major champion and the chief executive of LIV Golf, the entity that is overseeing the tour, spoke to The Telegraph the other day. It's a very popular journalistic outlet. Norman claimed that the release of the controversial comments by Phil Mickelson came on the heels of some big-time names on the PGA Tour ready to announce that they were signing to play for the Saudi-backed golf organization. According to LIV Golf, the final details of their new roster are being confirmed, but that they had hoped to announce some of the players in the coming weeks. Those players are thought to include Bubba Watson, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood, and Kevin Na. But there were other big names that were involved as well initially. About 3 months ago, LIV Golf were ready to unveil a cast believed to feature not only the ones I mentioned, but Phil Mickelson, South Carolina's own Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and others. On the Tuesday of the Genesis Open, Alan Shipnuck, that's a real name, published a blog containing containing the quotes Mickelson had given him back in November for a forthcoming book. Those quotes included Mickelson saying, quote, "Saudis were scary mother bleepers to be involved with," end quote, and that they had a, quote, "horrid human rights record," end quote. But in the same take, Mickelson announced he was prepared to overlook those atrocities because of the, quote, "once-in-a-lifetime leverage," end quote, that he and other fellow pros on the PGA Tour would have over the association because of the freedom from the PGA Tour that this would allow those golfers to have. Well, do you want to guess how Greg Norman, the Great White, do you want to guess what he labeled the release of Phil Mickelson's comments as? He said, Lonzo, that the reason that those comments came out when they did was yes, there it is. It was a conspiracy.
I have to fix it. Sorry.
I was trying to buy as much time as I could for you. Yes, indeed, it was a conspiracy. He said the release of the comments was, quote, "a kick in the teeth." There's no question about it. It was a gut punch. We were so close. On that Tuesday, we had our strength of field ready to go, and the PGA Tour heard about this and threw a giant redwood tree in our roadway, and they did. There's no question about it. They created a disruption by putting that information out, all those comments about Phil out there. I feel sorry for Phil. I really do. I feel sad for Phil, and I'll always say this. He has an open door to any tournament he wants to play in. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The release of Phil Mickelson's comments were a... Dang it. I almost timed it out perfect. I almost had it that time. Yes, indeed. It's a giant conspiracy, Phil. Hey, Greg. It's definitely not the fact that you are accepting oodles of money from an entity that is quite well known for, you know, murder, rape, brutal executions of people who have the audacity of not agreeing with them. Having the audacity of liking anything they don't like. It's definitely not that. It's definitely just a
conspiracy.
Thank you.
It's been a while, so I mean, you know.
I forgot there's only a handful of conspiracies before we just go X-Files music.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to. I thought it was overkill putting them everywhere, and then
this whole thing's overkill, and that's why it's awesome. That's why it's great. Greg says that between the PGA and for the Royal and Ancient Golf Club, which runs the Open Championship, that it was all one big conspiracy. No, Greg, it's not. It's not. I love Greg Norman. I did a book report in 3rd grade about Greg Norman, right? About the Great White Shark. I did a book report on 3rd grade. Miss Gherkin's class, that's the second time I've referenced her in a week. Miss Gherkin's class did her book report on Greg Norman. Dressed as Greg Norman. And this may shock you, I still have the straw hat with the shark logo on it that I wore when I did that in 3rd grade. Because apparently I had a gigantic ass head in 3rd grade and it still fits. Conspiracy. No, Greg, it's not a conspiracy. You have thrown your hat in with a bunch of terrible people and accepted a lot of their money, and people aren't cool with that, man. They're just not cool with that. Do you think if some business starts up business with OJ right now that people are going to go, oh, they just don't want us to get out there because it's because you're in line with a bad dude.
So what if they were in line with good people?
I think most of us would be on board.
I think that it still would be fought because the PGA doesn't want to lose their power. It's akin to the NCAA losing their power.
I think the PGA Tour, you're right. The PGA Tour would still be upset about it, right? They would still be upset about it. But those of us that are golf fans wouldn't be. We wouldn't be. If Greg Norman, as Greg Norman, had set up this league, if it was the Greg Norman Golf League, and it was just Greg running courses and running tournaments and giving us a secondary calendar of golf that PGA guys were also playing on, I'd be all on board because, as I've said, doing things that are new and unique and different and fun alongside your traditional sport is how you grow the sport, right? I know a couple of young people that watched the Masters last weekend, not because they're big golf guys, but because last Wednesday, you know who Dude Perfect is, Lonzo?
It sounds familiar.
Dude Perfect are a band of younger yahoos who have gotten famous on YouTube by doing trick shots, right? And they go now, it started with them basically in a house trying to throw ping pong balls into cups from across rooms or whatever. And now it's turned into they get hooked up with like world famous athletes and go do goofy trick shots for fun, and they get millions of views on YouTube. One of the ones they did a couple of years ago was they went to the top of the Hoover Dam, Lonzo, and they put a basketball goal at the bottom, and they went to the top of the Hoover Dam, and they tried to drop a basketball off the Hoover Dam into a hoop. And it was kind of interesting to watch because not only were they doing it, but they had to contend with physics and like air pattern. It was really interesting.
Yeah, gravity, wind, all that type of thing, yeah.
Well, they've also paired up with professional athletes to try stuff. I think they did something with Kobe before he passed away, if I recall. Last week, Dude Perfect, in what I genuinely think was shocking, was invited to Augusta National to play golf trick shot wise. They brought Bryson DeChambeau with them. They played a game where you had to finish a par 5 and you got to use a putter, a tennis racket, a pool noodle, a pool cue, and something else. And you got to use each one of those one time to hit a shot. Right? There were a bunch of YouTube kids who watched that and then they were like, oh, that's all right, let me try this golf thing. Now that I know how weird this course is, that's the kind of stuff that works. If Greg Norman did this, it would work. But when you back it with murder money, a lot of people get turned off by that. Greg, it's not a conspiracy. You're just wrong. A lot of people are going to be better off in life when they realize not everything's a conspiracy. Sometimes you just have bad information and bad opinions. Back after this for hour number 2 on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Well, that's the first time I did that in a while. I'm a little concerned about who it was that called.
Be right back, people.
That's not good.
It's one of my favorite things you've ever said.
All right, I was just looking at the invitation for next week just because I was curious, and it asked me if I'm going or not. So I need to go ask and make sure because I'm curious about going forward. Should I always believe that I'm going or not, or is it
going to
remote?
Yeah, why wouldn't you be?
Because that's not how it works. I mean, you know. We do not make assumptions. Odyssey. You know, chemtrails a day, Steven. It's too dreary out.
Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be back with you. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the glass, both literally and metaphorically. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on the show. Coming up in about 20 minutes, head coach of your Greenville Triumph, Coach John Harkes, going to join us right here on the program. As we announced to you earlier in the week, not only have the Triumph out of the USL League One advanced to round 3 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, soccer's biggest American tournament that includes every level of recognized soccer from the MLS down, but in advancing, they got the draw of Charlotte FC, an MLS team. And that'd be big enough as it was, right? I thought, oh, man, I'm going to have to make a weekday roadie up to Bank of America to go watch the boys take on Charlotte FC at BOA in Charlotte. Nope. Charlotte FC is coming here. That's right. Next Wednesday, the 20th of April, an MLS side, Charlotte FC, is going to be playing our Greenville Triumph right here in the GVL, right here in the Upstate. And we would talk to John Harkes about what he expects to see, how he expects to see it. It ought to be a very, very interesting conversation with John Harkes coming up today at 10:20. So make sure you stick around for that. I am really excited about that. I think you will be too. Like I said, I don't think we're going to be confusing or upsetting anybody if we talk about the fact that we are a massive underdog in that match. But weirder things have happened in soccer. Why not go out there and make a little history, eh? We'll talk with John Harkes about that coming up at 10:20. By the way, we talked about this very briefly at the end of the show yesterday, but more reports coming out, including from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, that this whole Tom Brady was going to be made an owner of the Dolphins and was also going to play quarterback for them and was also going to bring Sean Payton, the former Saints coach, with him to coach that team that he was quarterbacking down in Miami. May actually be real. May actually be a thing that was in the process before Brian Flores dropped his lawsuit on the same day that Tom Brady retired. I love this story. It is absolutely wild, right? What's it look like if that happens, right? What's it look like if that happens? Tom Brady retires, gets off the Bucs roster. 3 weeks later, he's like, my place is on the field, except for that field's in Miami. Sean Payton leaves the Saints high and dry, says, I'm out, and then shows up in Miami 3 weeks later alongside Brady to coach that team. I gotta tell you,
See, what bothers me about that whole thing is why would you leave Tampa Bay for Miami? I know the ownership thing. I get that part. But is Miami as close to winning the Super Bowl as Tampa Bay is? I guess maybe Brady believes, hey, everybody came when I went to Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay already had a really good team. Is Miami on that level? I don't think so.
I think and that's why I think the minority ownership part comes in, right? Like, hey, Tom, we're gonna give you not only your salary, but we're gonna give you a 10 or 20% stake in the team if you come play quarterback for a year with us, right? Because the 10% stake in the Miami Dolphins over the life of Brady, and considering Tom Brady is never going to die, that's worth a lot of money. I think that's where that comes from. And you got to wonder, do we see stuff like this happen in the future, right? Could a team in the future that really wants to sign that free agent go, hey, how about 2% ownership in the team on top of your regular salary? We'll give you everything the Saints wanted to give you, Tom Brady, but we'll also give you X% stake in the team for lifelong profit out of it as well. Are you in? This would have been, I'll acknowledge, even from a guy who's been a Brady fan, I think this would have been, underhanded a little bit, right? A little bit underhanded. If that was the intention and that's what you were really doing.
Wait. So you are equating this to underhandedness from such an honest individual who has never had a blemish on his record, who's never been in a position where people thought that he was a liar or a cheat? No.
I'm just saying, Alonzo, if I was a Bucs fan and I heard this, I'd be a little deflated, you know?
As well you should be.
I would probably take my cell phone and break it accidentally out of anger if I was them.
Yeah, because, that sort of thing happens.
All the time. Who amongst us, hasn't accidentally shattered one of our 3 cell phones that we use? Who amongst us, huh? I don't know. It's a weird story. Let me give you, speaking of weird stories, how about this one? How about the most unfortunate kid at a hockey game story of all time? Saturday night in Toronto, Leafs Habs. Big rivalry game. Montreal Canadiens fan Hunter Beauparlant, Beauparlant.
So, it's French Canadian. You got to throw some French on there, man.
I'm from Quebec, you idiot.
You just made the list.
Hunter Beauparlant and his father, Stephen, went to Saturday night's Leafs Habs game in Toronto. During warm-ups, young Hunter, who is around 8 years old, young Hunter was standing at the glass. And Nick Suzuki came over. He's a member of the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki came over. And as hockey players will do during warm-ups, I've seen it happen at all levels, he tossed a puck up over the glass to young Hunter to keep as a souvenir. That's pretty common, right? In warm-ups, there's 1,000 pucks on the ice. Guys will just pick one up and toss it to young fans. It gives them a souvenir and a memory to keep with them. Well, young Hunter certainly has a memory, because young Hunter, as the puck came down, caught it, Lonzo, with his face. Young Hunter Beauparlant's face caught the puck right on the top lip, split his lip open, started bleeding, popped his lip open. Well, of course, Nick Suzuki, being a good guy, felt really bad about that. It's an accident. It's going to happen. If you don't know this, hockey pucks, which are already hard, we got some in the window over here. Hockey pucks are hard, But before the games, Lonzo, they put hockey pucks in freezers, so they're actually frozen rock solid. You take one to the dome, even from a casual toss, it does not feel good.
I did not know that they were frozen, but it makes sense, but I didn't know that.
Yep, they're frozen solid. So they're rock hard. So poor Hunter catches the frozen puck with his face, splits his lip open. Well, Nick Suzuki feels bad about this accident. So in the second period intermission, Nick skated over, met young Hunter, and gave him his hockey stick. Game-used hockey stick. That's pretty rad, yeah? That's pretty cool. That's a fun little gift.
He didn't throw it over the glass, did he?
No, he
Okay.
actually met and handed it.
All
to him.
right,
Met him
all
at the
right.
little walkway, handed him the hockey stick, which is kind of rad.
Well, Nick's pretty tough if he stuck around for the rest of the game after getting his, mouth busted.
Yeah, I
for
feel
an
guilty,
8-year-old, I mean, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I feel guilty too. I feel awful about that. So Nick Suzuki skates over, and Nick Suzuki gives him the hockey stick. So now young Hunter Beauparlant has a busted lip, a hockey puck, and a game-used stick from Nick Suzuki, which is pretty rad. And then, Lonzo, young Hunter and his father were escorted out of the stadium during the game. Why? Because Hunter had a hockey stick, which could be considered a weapon. And arena staff, not reading the room, told young Hunter, you can give us the stick or you can leave. Of course, young Hunter wanted to keep the stick, so him and his father left the arena. The stadium staff said MLSE and its fan services team works in every case to deliver a world-class experience for each fan while ensuring the safety and enjoyment of the fellow attendees is protected. In this case, with 10 minutes remaining in the game, a fan was notified by security as he was walking in the concourse with a hockey stick that due to fan safety protocols, MLSE's fan services would assist them to check the stick until the end of the game as it poses a safety hazard for other fans. Hunter didn't want to check the stick because why would he, right? It's a game-used stick. I'm not just giving it to some dude, some valet clerk who's going to go, oh, Mr. Hunter, I'm really sorry we lost the stick.
This story,
because I put it in the back of my Accord.
The story took a turn that I wasn't expecting because I thought Hunter cross-checked somebody or just high-sticked them or something, and that's what happened. So this is ridiculous.
Hunter took a puck to the face, was given a game-used stick as in, oh, dude, my bad. That sucks. I'm sorry. Has a game-used. By the way, Nick Suzuki, good player, too. That's a stick. That's like one to put on the wall and hang on to. Gets the game-used stick from Nick Suzuki and then is told by stadium security, hey, you can either give us the stick or you can get out. Nice job. Nice job. Anyway, since then, the Canadiens found out what happened to young Hunter. They are sending him a game-worn autographed Nick Suzuki jersey in order to add to young Hunter's collection. I mean, he's going to come out on the winning end of this thing. But could you imagine sitting through 2.5 periods of hockey, only to be told you have to leave because that really cool memento that the player you came to see gave you is a weapon and we don't like it?
All right, so Nick being 8 years old, he probably has no idea what happened.
None at all.
The dad does, though. And I mean, how can you not know that he was, or there are not cameras on that? And I guess these arenas are big and it's hard to know everything that's going on. But still. I mean, if the dad explained it, it wouldn't be too hard for them to get on their walkies and say, hey, this fan says this. Is this okay?
Yeah, it's I mean, just read the room, Montreal. It's not the Canadiens. Like I said, the Canadiens are making good on it. They're doing the right thing. They're sending my guy a jersey to go ahead and let him match up, you know? Now he's got the full Nick Suzuki collection to work with. He's got the stick, he's got the puck, he's got the jersey from the game. That's all rad and good. But imagine being a Hunter in this situation. That's got to make you feel terrible. My goodness. Poor guy. Dude just wanted to go enjoy a hockey game, gets a busted lip, a puck to the face, and then kicked out of the game. Texter says, Lonzo and Rob, face or heel. Security are just doing their job, face or heel, Lonzo.
They are just doing their job. I think this is a policy thing, but I think even while doing your job, you need to be aware and take steps to find out what is going on, especially if it's explained to you, and let upper management make the decision.
Yeah. You gotta read the room there, guys. You gotta read the room. You gotta know what's going on there. That's just a terrible look. My poor dude just wanted to go live his best life at a hockey game, gets his lip busted, and then gets told, hey man, sorry, sucks to be you, but you gotta go.
You could say that either little Nick or the dad is the heel because Nick didn't catch the puck. So either Nick is not aware enough, even though he's 8 years old, or the dad is not aware enough to teach Nick how to catch a puck when it comes over the glass. I mean, you can look at it that way. I'm not looking at it that way, but you could.
I mean, listen, Pops, I need you to catch the puck for your kid.
Yeah,
right?
there's that.
I need you to catch the puck for your kid.
Because is the kid up there by the glass all by himself? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what the setup is. And maybe, like at 8 years old, I would say I'm comfortable, like, I'm 10 rows back. Go ahead, son. Run up to the glass. See if you can score yourself a puck. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm not. So, but I'm over protective. So
I got no problem. He's 8. I got my little nephew. My little nephew is almost 4. Like, I'm not gonna let him go bananas. But at 8, I'll probably let him go. But Pops, dude, social awareness, pal. Social awareness. Like, you got to know what's going on. But this ultimately falls on security. Like, I get you are doing your job. I understand the job that you were doing. But when Pops goes, hey, man, you see my kid over there? The one bleeding from his face? That stick just got given to him as a make good for taking a biscuit to the grill. Can you just let my kid live a little bit? And if you're security, I think you verify it, right? You hop on the walkie and you go, hey, did anybody have eyes on Hunter taking a puck to the face? Yeah? Did Nick give him the stick? Yeah? All right, Hunter, hang on. Have a great rest of the game, buddy. I don't think an 8-year-old is a threat of domestic terrorism with a hockey stick. You know what I mean? Like, even if he tried to hit you with the stick, is it really going to be that bad? Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, Greenville Triumph head coach John Harkes joins us live right here on the show to break down the Greenville Triumph match against Charlotte FC coming up next Wednesday. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. We didn't forget about you, Keegan. We wouldn't dare. Room full of P1s in here.
If you don't see us on stream, we're hatching nefarious plans. And we can't hatch a nefarious plan in front of everybody because then it's no longer a plan. It's common knowledge, and we don't want to do that.
What we were doing was preparing our nefarious monologue that we deliver right before said plan develops.
Those take work. We got proofreaders and stuff like that, you know. I can't do that because I shaved it all off because I can't take it. I tried again. It got pretty long this time, and I couldn't. It's just. Who did that? I'm telling you, from what I read yesterday without actually listening, it sounded like there was something going on. Was very tempted to answer some of those just so they could see if they could figure out who it was. But
you know, there is something that is kind of cool when you are a part of history in the making, and it is such a big deal that you know that it is history in the making. And that is exactly what has been happening in the upstate soccer scene. We have watched the soccer community here in the upstate develop over the past couple of years, and it hits yet another high next Wednesday. Legacy Early College, 7 p.m., when the Greenville Triumph welcome an MLS side, Charlotte FC, in their inaugural season, will travel to the upstate to take on the Triumph, who host them in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It is going to be a massive day, and our next guest is the guy who will be guiding the Triumph through what I think it's fair to say might be their biggest match as an organization yet. He is the head coach of the Greenville Triumph. He is Mr. John Harkes, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Coach, welcome back, fella. How we feeling, man? You busy or anything?
Yeah, we're a little busy, Rob, but it's good busy. It's good busy. We're enjoying, being in a situation where, first let's get credit to the guys, about the game against Oakland Roots, beating a championship side. It's always difficult to compete in that next level up. And, after we lost the home opener, which was disappointing for us, you wanted to see, from a coaching staff, the response from the guys. They did a great job. And now it advances us on. And as you say, it's not every day you get a chance to play against a Major League Soccer side in the U.S. Open Cup. The oldest tournament in this country, 1914, had a 2-year hiatus. It's back. Thank God. It's open market. You get to play against any team in any division. And now we have a great opportunity to play next Wednesday against Charlotte FC, a very good side, an expansion club in themselves in Major League Soccer, and they're a good team. So, look, it's going to be a big challenge, but what an exciting opportunity. I mean, not just, for our club and for the community, but really for the team, for the players to, kind of challenge themselves in a way. And, we're really looking forward to it. It's excellent.
John Harkes, head of the Greenville Triumph here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. And I want to talk about that. But obviously, to get to this spot, we did have to win last week. We had Oakland Roots, a team that's got some history, a team that is one division ahead of the Greenville Triumph, who come to Legacy early. And I got to tell you, Coach, it was one of the most cohesive efforts we've seen out of this team. in a while. This team was clicking very well defensively. The communication was incredible, I thought, from our stance in Section 110. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys went through to prepare for that game, that match itself, and what a victory over Oakland meant before you even knew that Charlotte was next in line.
Yeah, I mean, the tactical discipline it took in that game against the Oakland Roots, it was of the highest mentality, really highest focus. And the guys did a good job. And look, they were unlucky not to score as well. They had opportunities, and sometimes you got to have a luck. Your name's got to be on the cup, as they say. And, we rode it, and Keegan's opening goal was fantastic. Jay Keegan, great ball in behind by Lucas Coutinho. And a great finish. I mean, at any level, it's a fantastic goal. Just to have that skill set and the awareness to do that, presence of mind. And then to finish it off with Don Smart, who, for me, between he and Paul Christensen, I thought, our goalkeeper, he was man of the match. And, he's defending, great veteran player, scoring the goal at the end to seal the deal. And the guys did well. It was a great approach to the game. We had a real big plan ahead. We worked on it every day, as we do, and we've got to, look, here's the biggest thing, Rob. We've got to work on getting ourselves right for Saturday against North Carolina FC and then prepare for Charlotte, 3 days later. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, as we recover and get from that. But at the end of the day, we welcome it. We want those opportunities, and it's a reward for the guys. The way they played against Oakland, it's a great reward for them to play against a Major League Soccer team. So I'm excited. I just hope our community gets excited about it. I hope they understand what the real value is, when you play against a team like this in the Open Cup. And we got to pack out legacy. We got to make sure that people understand what's going on there on Wednesday night and get out and show Charlotte FC what Greenville Triumph can do. Show our true colors, in our community. I really hope that happens.
Coach John Harkes of the Greenville Triumph here on the Rob Brown Show. And we'll get into Charlotte, but how do you, Coach, prepare these guys? I mean, look, I think it would be unrealistic to tell the guys, hey, don't look ahead to the biggest match probably most of you guys have ever played in or have played into at this point in your careers. Don't look ahead to an MLS side coming to your city. Don't look ahead to that. We've got a match Saturday. But Saturday's match is for points in USL League One, whereas the U.S. Open Cup is obviously there's potential prize money down the line. How do you keep the guys focused on Saturday when you do see that monster looming next Wednesday?
Yeah, it's just making sure the prep time and everything, their focus is on the daily stuff in terms of what we're doing, our tactical approach, our discipline, our scouting, of NCFC, a very good team in our league. They've added a lot of veteran players to their group as well, so they have a great balance there. Some younger guys coming through, 2 players up front that are very dangerous. So our focus started on, Monday afternoon. We did a Monday morning session. We got a lot of stuff out from the game. We talked about it, and then you move forward. And we've been on NCFC all week. So that's our focus now. That's the primary target. We need 3 points, as you say. We've got to get that result away from home. It's going to be a challenge, but look, I think the guys are up for it. And then, look, after that game, we reassess where we're at and we see where we can go forward, who's healthy. We lost 2 players in the last game, due to injury. Jamie Smith, who debuted as a right center back for us and did an excellent job, and he got hurt with his ankle ligaments at the end of the game. And Lucas Coutinho came out with a hamstring as well in the 60th minute. So, not going to have him for Saturday, not going to have Jamie for Saturday. So a rotation of players, we got to get some depth in there, and that's where the focus comes from. And I think the guys are up for it. We're looking forward to, we want to create a little bit more depth. We got another signing that we had yesterday. Is pending with the league, but another player that can fill our roster. And, right now, this year, the game gets harder. Harder. And getting players in our league is very hard because you have MLS next, you have the championship level, and they're taking players, top players. And so the recruitment part of it is really difficult. So the depth to create in our side and to increase the budget if we can is really important because you need that throughout the whole season, especially when you add this year an Open Cup. That planning and that type of organization has to sync up. And so we're hoping that guys can fill in these spots and do a good job and rise to the occasion on Saturday.
John Harkes joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. and the Fan Upstate. And obviously we've got North Carolina FC on Saturday, but next Wednesday night, Legacy Early College, 7 p.m., MLS side Charlotte FC coming to our house. And I want to talk to you, Coach, about what it can mean for the soccer community. But for you guys, for a club as you stand today, for the players, for the coaching staff, for you guys to go out there and perform. And I don't know what that looks like, whether it's a win, whether it's a draw, whether it's a really closely contested game. I don't know what your definition of success would be in this match, so I'll start with what is that, and B, what would it mean for you guys as a staff and you guys as a roster to go out there and have a great showing against an MLS side?
Well, I think it's a win-win situation. We want to go out and win the game. We want to survive and advance. That's what we do in the Open Cup. I love this tournament. I want our team to do well. I want us to succeed, and winning is what we're in the game for. So, that's the number one thing. That's a priority right now. Is it going to be a big, hard challenge? Of course it is. Yeah, absolutely. You're stepping up 2 levels here to the top division in our league, in our country. It's Major League Soccer, Charlotte FC. I watched them against Atlanta this weekend. They beat Atlanta. That's not an easy task, and it's going to be a challenge. But, yeah, we want to go out and win the game for sure. Do we want to represent the club well and compete? Yeah, absolutely. That's another win situation. So, and we also want to show, in the Open Cup, we want to show people around the country that Greenville can be a soccer destination. So we need the fans. We need fans to be there. We got to pack the Legacy house. It's a must-win situation for us to advance through. And I think putting people in the seats, the supporters that we've had, including yourself, Rob, have pushed those on to great heights throughout the years. And we're going to need you again Wednesday night.
Talking to John Harkes, head coach of the Greenville Triumph here on the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. And so let's segue to that, Coach, and that is as a soccer community. Now, I think you and obviously Doug and Joe Irwin and Chris Lewis and everybody in that office, I genuinely feel are leaders of the charge to not make Greenville a soccer community, because I think that it is, but to continue to push Greenville to be a soccer community. We saw what happened in Austin, Texas, right? I mean, this was a place that a number of years ago, I don't know that it was on the map now because of guys like Matthew McConaughey. Not only are they on the map as a soccer forward community, but they got an MLS team that started play as well. Same up in Charlotte. When we watch Greenville, who maybe isn't the size of Austin or Charlotte yet, but is growing and trying to advance soccer within that community, to have a game of this stature, to have an MLS team coming to our house and the opportunity to put not just Legacy Early College, not just the Triumph, but the Reedy River Riot in Section 110 and the entire Greenville soccer community to kind of highlight it on the map as opposed to put it on the map. What kind of opportunity do you see that will come because of the fact that we have an MLS team here coming to our neighborhood?
Well, ideally, I think, and even in Joe Irwin's mind, is have our own home, get our own stadium, an identity of our club. I think we've had enough success on the field, and getting the people in the stands and getting true soccer fans here to support us each and every week, filling out our Legacy Stadium. That shows everybody around the country that we are serious. We are a club to be reckoned with. And, I think that's the next stage. That's the next plan for all of us is to, seek that stadium and get our own stadium. And once you do that, I think everybody has a destination. They know where Greenville Triumph plays. They want to go there. I mean, I look at Charlotte. I was up there last week on Sunday. It's an afternoon at 1:30. There's no excuses there. There's 36,000 plus in that stadium. Yeah, their opener was 74,000. That was fantastic. A lot of celebrities came out that day and everything else. But 36,000 in Charlotte, that's amazing. And if you can get something like that, not even close to those numbers, but if we build a 5,000, 7,000 seat stadium, whatever it may be, and you fill it out each and every week, that's amazing in itself in Greenville. So, we got to make that happen. Hopefully we do soon.
We're talking to John Harkes. He is the head coach of the Greenville Triumph. And Coach, last one before we cut you loose and let you go, but obviously we got to talk about the match itself. I don't think I'm going to be offending or upsetting or shocking anybody by saying we're going to be viewed as an underdog coming into this match against Charlotte FC. So once we get past North Carolina and pick up 3 points on Saturday, for you to prepare to the guys to go into this match and try to pull off the W here. What's the focus for John Harkes as a coach, and what are you trying to keep the boys focused on and able to go out there and in the biggest game in Triumph history, put on a show that people talk about?
Well, it's just having a plan, Rob, and having the players believe in that plan. Because once they do that, then they have self-belief in themselves, and they're able to kind of have the confidence to go out and compete like that at that level. There should be no hesitation. There should be no negativity in anything in an approach to that game. We are the underdog. That's without a doubt. So we've got nothing to lose. Let's go for it, and that's our mindset.
Love to hear it. John Harkes, head coach of your Greenville Triumph, this Saturday on the road at North Carolina FC. That game will be available on ESPN+. But next Wednesday, we are going to pack out Legacy Early College. Coach, I've got our text line up, and I have gotten about 12 different texts from people asking how to buy tickets. So we're going to get Legacy rocking. I know we'll be bringing the noise in 110 and look forward to supporting you and the boys in an enormous match against Charlotte FC. Coach, good luck, and thank you as always, my friend.
Yeah, Rob, thanks for your support as always, my man. Have a great day. Take care. See you next Wednesday.
There you go. That is John freaking Harkes, head coach of your Greenville Triumph. Again, this Saturday, North Carolina FC in a USL League One matchup. 3 points on the line on the road there. But then next Wednesday, at home, MLS side Charlotte FC is coming to the upstate. Little old Greenville hosting an MLS side. Again, no surprise, Triumph going to be an underdog in that game, as Coach Harkes said, but history can be made. So I begged you guys this week. I am now telling you as a sports fan, help us put Greenville, South Carolina even more on the map. I think we already are. Now we got a chance to highlight ourselves. But in order to do that, we need Legacy Early College packed out, like entirely. I grabbed my tickets yesterday. You can do it by going to the Greenville Triumph website. When you open that website, there's going to be a banner that comes up talking about the match. You can click on that or just scroll down. There's a place right in the middle that says Open Cup Tickets. You click on that, it'll take you right to the buy scene. They are not sold out entirely yet. I know Section 113 is sold out, and the general admission, Section 111, is not sold out. But my section, Section 110, home of the Reedy River Riot, La Familia, and the other fan groups, still has some seats available. We want that thing uncomfortably packed. You can also still get center circle or sideline tickets by going to greenvilletriumph.com. Click on the U.S. Open Cup tickets banner, and you better be there. If you want to call yourself an upstate sports fan, you had better be at Legacy Early next Wednesday for the biggest match in Greenville Triumph history. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
So Rob doesn't like me to talk about our geese problems, but they seem to have followed him over here. We get more and more geese every year. So during the Harkes interview, there was a geese fight. I don't know how to. The geese were fighting, and I don't know if you saw me looking out the window. That's what I was watching. I was watching a goose fight, and it was a tag team. It was amazing. A tag team. Yeah, and then after.
Or a handicap match?
It was a handicap match with interference because one came in at the end and it broke it up. Could have been the ref. I don't think so. I think it was more of a participant. And then afterwards, the geese, they squared off. There's like two on one side, one on the other, and they put their head back and they kind of do this thing. I don't know what this is, but I think it's like a challenge. It was wild. One was doing it, and the other one was doing back, and the other one's like this.
So geese, they don't have teeth, but they have serrated beaks, right?
Yeah.
I imagine that's evolutionary evolved to keep your eyeballs away from the sharpest part of their face.
No. They were like 20 feet apart doing this. It was like a bring it kind of thing, and they were talking stuff to each other, and I guess that must be a challenge how they do their heads back like that. I'll have to look it up, but I'm not quite sure how to look it up. If I look up goose fight, who knows what I'll end up with.
The weirdest search history possible.
Diesel uses Firefox. If he used Chrome, I would just start searching things weird on purpose. Yeah. Just so he can say, what is he looking at? How do geese... No, I don't want to know how they mate, how they fight. Their attack methods include biting or whacking someone with their wings. Okay, that's not very exciting. Here's a video of geese fighting. Maybe I should watch that and see if it's what I just witnessed. He might have, Steven. He might have brought the geese with him.
No, I didn't bring them. They followed me.
Actually, those geese have been there for like, I don't know if they're the same geese, but they've been, since I've been here, the geese have been here, and the family just grows and grows and grows. There's like 20 of them out there right now, if you include the little ones. Harley in the next break. Get in the game. Come on, Rob.
We don't get in the game. We are the game. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. And that's how Lonzo creates taglines unintentionally during breaks. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate. Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or go to YouTube and search The Rob Brown Show. We have been live streaming for about a year and 2 months now, and built up a fun little following of people. We want you to join it as well. And again, you get to interact with Lonzo and I between segments off the air. So if you got topics you don't want to bring up on the air, whatever, there's perfect opportunity. We got a handful of guys, Steven and Ben and Seb and Keegan and Tayshawn and all these guys that hang out with us every day on the stream. You can join that phenomenal group of P1 listeners. Pretty much you show up in the stream for a couple of weeks in a row every day, you earn the P1 title. P1 title is not given, it is earned.
I will tell you, you will not get more entertaining stuff during the break that you get on this show. We were talking goose fighting during the break, which is it's if you've never seen it, it was an amazing thing. I witnessed a goose battle royal outside the window just a few minutes ago.
Next one you see, I need you to let me know so I can move to that mic and call live play-by-play.
Well, you were interviewing Coach Harkes.
Yeah, I can't foresee Coach Harkes.
Yeah. Although he might appreciate that.
I'll say there's not much else on the show that would not go next in line behind calling play-by-play of a live goose fight.
And after the calling out, because after you have a match, you still got to talk some stuff afterwards, which the geese did.
Breakdown, analysis.
Two of them flew towards the window, so we nearly had some fun right there. which I have bore witness to birds crashing into these windows before.
I feel like if a goose hits that window, we're going down.
Yeah, that would be. Well, they're double paned, so they may not get through the second one.
Geese are dinosaurs. Geese are dinosaurs. I don't want to mess with it.
Also, the way these windows are shaped, there's one at an angle, so I think the first would kill some of the force, and the second one would probably repel.
Here's hoping. All right. Thanks to Coach John Harkes. Thanks to Doug Irwin for setting that up for us. We talked to him last week. We are going to get our weekly Triumph segments. We did this for you last season. We'll do it again this weekend. We'll start doing those on Wednesdays moving forward. They will occasionally move here and there because of the new time slot. Because the Triumph typically train in the morning, so to make it a little bit difficult, we may be doing some Wednesday recordings, replaying them Thursday, but we'll let you know week by week when that weekly Triumph interview is going to be. Thanks to head coach John Harkes for joining. Talk about a busy guy, right? Got a match this Saturday, a USL League One match that counts in the standings, 3 points on the line to go up to North Carolina and get the win. And then he's got to turn around. He's got Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to get the boys ready for the biggest match that most, if not all of them, have ever played in their careers. The biggest match in the history of the Greenville Triumph. And I would argue maybe the biggest sporting event that's ever happened here in the GVL. I know that there have been other big games that have happened here at Floor Field and other locations. And I've only been here, a little bit less than 2.5 years at this point. Lonzo, top of your head, has there ever been a bigger sporting event than having a professional team? And when I say pro, I mean top tier league, because the Triumph are pros. But having a top tier professional team come here to play a match. I'm not saying it's never happened.
Well, the Panthers did play at Clemson a couple of times. So
that's why I specified Greenville.
Yeah, as far as Greenville goes, there was like an exhibition NBA match once.
Yeah.
And it was like preseason. That's about it that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, this is for a trophy, right? Winner of this moves on to the 4th round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Championship, the Open Cup. This is a real competitive.
There's a lot of excitement around this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, so you're plugged in to the soccer community, Lonzo. I'm going to be like an egomaniac here and say you're plugged in because of me, right? Like through me. And I know that there are a bunch of people out there who maybe aren't soccer fans or maybe just dabble in soccer and their primary exposure to the sport is me and this show. As somebody who's effectively plugged in through me, Lonzo, would you say that you have felt an increased buzz around the Triumph because of this matchup coming this Wednesday?
Absolutely, not just here, but on the stream, on the text line, everywhere. A lot of people. I mean, you can feel it, man. People are pumped and ready for this, and it's kind of cool. It really is. Is this David versus Goliath? No, I don't think so. This is the Triumph. Very much have the opportunity and the ability to beat Charlotte. So. It's not one of those where you go, they're not. No, they could win. They could beat this team.
I mean, listen, I'm not offending anybody. I called them an underdog to John Harkes' face, and his response was, yeah, of course we're the underdog, right? This isn't something. I think it's one thing when you see a lot of teams go into matches and they give you the coach speak of, well, we believe we can beat anybody, any place, anytime. It's like, nah, not really, dude. Not really. They are an underdog. But the Triumph play their best game. And at some point, Charlotte FC, who I think is, as I told you on Monday, punching well above their weight, they come back down to earth a little bit, and the Triumph play their best game. Why not? Let's make some history. Be there next Wednesday, Legacy Early College. I will be. Hashtag bang the drum. See you then. Back after this for the third final best money hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Tell you about my friends at Harley-Davidson of Greenville, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why is not just because they have been voted 6 years in a row as the best place to buy a motorcycle in the upstate, and BT dub, they are. It is because I have been genuinely impressed with what Harley-Davidson of Greenville does for their customers that have already purchased, right? I have over the years seen dealerships that go out of their way to impress you when they are trying to sell you a motorcycle. And then once they get you on the back of that bike, you drive off the lot, the only communication you hear from them after that is, hey, happy birthday, here's 5% off an oil change, right? Not Harley-Davidson of Greenville. Not only does Harley-Davidson of Greenville make sure that you get on the bike that you want to be on, not only do they make sure that it is expertly maintained with their Harley-Davidson certified technicians right there on site, not only do they make sure that you have the riding experience you want, but if you've got any questions, concerns, thoughts, or considerations, you go back to the shop, you walk in, you are not treated like a guy who already bought a motorcycle. You are treated like part of the Harley-Davidson of Greenville family because you are. Also want to remind you that April 23rd and 24th, coming up in just a little over a week, they are holding their open house right there at the shop at 30 Chrome Drive. 30 Chrome Drive. They're going to have a hauler that shows up with a truckload, quite literally.
So here's a problem. That's a good question, Keegan. But first of all, I don't want to take up a space of someone who actually is a big-time soccer fan because that would be unfair to the team. I also don't want to show up to just say, hey, look, I showed up, like some other hosts or people will probably do. I think that would not be true to who I am showing up to something like this because you'll think I'm just there because I want to be seen. And let's face it, Keegan, you have seen me at live events.
What a diplomatic way of saying no.
I'm pretty boring. So you don't want me in the crowd when you can have someone there who's not me, who's going to be loud and raucous and all the things that a fan should be. Whereas when I go to a game, I just kind of sit there and watch it. So, I don't want to be the difference, maybe that one extra true fan that's there, that one extra dB of cheering that causes the team to rally to win. I don't want to be the guy who's the cause of the opposite. So chances are probably no.
Again, fancy way to say no.
I'll send somebody with a C in their name as my replacement.
Well, you know where to find your boy. Section 110, beating the drum like it owes me money.
Yeah, but you haven't taken a killer picture like what Keegan is taking. Every time I see that, I'm like, dude, that is so awesome.
It might be the best picture ever taken in the Upstate. It is good. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Let's rock and roll and finish this bad boy off with a bang, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for spending your mornings with us. Especially those of you that aren't even at work yet. You just get up and tune in. I love it. We appreciate it greatly and sincerely. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Last night, the NBA play-in tournament got underway, and it was a solid night of basketball. The Nets, odds-on favorite, by the way, 8.5-point favorites on the betting line. I took the Cavs to cover. Cash it! 115-108 winners are Brooklyn. And Kyrie Irving, some people asked this, and I think it came to fruition last night. The question was, with Kyrie Irving sitting out the overwhelming majority of Brooklyn home games due to that vaccine mandate, would he come in, A, with fresh legs and energy that couldn't be matched by the Cavs, or B, not fitting into the chemistry that the Nets had built? Remember, when Kevin Durant went down with his injury, the Nets were bad for a while without those two guys. Would those two be able to get on the same page? And I'd say they were. Kyrie, 34 points on 12 of 15 from the floor and 3 of 6 from behind the arc. And Kyrie started off 10 of 10 from the floor. Knocked down all double-digit efforts to start the game. Got to halftime, they put up Kyrie's shooting chart, and it was just all green, man. Just all green. Kyrie was HOT hot last night to start that game. 34 on the night. Kevin Durant, 9 of 16 from the floor. One of a couple he tried from behind the arc. 6 of 6 from the stripe. Kyrie, by the way, 7 of 7 from the stripe. Boys and girls, games are won and lost at the free throw line, right? You have the nastiest crossover in the world, but if you can't knock home your free throws, it does not matter. Andre Drummond chipped in 16, Bruce Brown 18, and coming off the bench, you got 13 out of Nick Claxton as well on 6 of 6 from the floor. He was 1 of 6 from the stripe, but 6 of 6 from the floor. That's a good night. Good night for Nick Claxton off the bench. But only 3 and 6 from Dragic and Patty Mills off the bench as well. The Nets are good, but not a ton of depth. Not a ton of depth. This is a team that if you can wear out their starting 5, can still be beat. The Nets are yet to be the odds-on favorite out of this conference like they were at the beginning of the year. If you faded the Nets early, you made some money, and you still might. Kevin and Kyrie both played well last night. If one of the two of them fades out, Cleveland, who, by the way, at 44-38, a good team, but was missing 3 of their most used players last night. Missing 3 of those guys, still put up a hell of a fight. At one point early, the Cavs were down 20. And they fought back to make it close-ish. 7-point loss ultimately. But they got close-ish for a while. That's a depleted Cleveland team. Tell me what this team is going to look like when they step up on Friday. They get into an actual series when the Cavs square off with the winner of the 9-10 game from tonight, and it's do or die. And then if they win in, what happens if they bump into a much deeper Boston Celtics team?
I will say, a 7-point victory is not really that big of a deal in the NBA because that's what, 5-10 seconds that can be changed in the NBA with how good these guys shoot. That was very close to me considering how far they were down by 20. They could have gave it up and went, okay, we got one more game. We'll just let it go. But no, they fought their way back into it. They didn't win, but they fought their way back in. And you're right. You had those 2 players back in. Look out.
Yeah. Brooklyn takes on Boston this Sunday, 3:30. Got an afternoon tip for game 1 in the Garden. Boston's got a much deeper rotation than Cleveland does. Don't tell me the Brooklyn Nets is a 7 seed. In fairness, the strongest 7 seed the NBA has ever seen, and we've seen some 7 seed wins. It's very rare, but it's happened. But I don't know that they're not the underdog going into this game against Boston, or this series against Boston.
So when you watch an NBA game and it's not one of your teams, how do you figure out who you're rooting for? Do you figure out who you're going to root against?
I think most people do.
Okay.
Right? I think most people do. Listen, I grew up, before New Orleans got a team, I was a Boston fan because my uncle was a big Celtics guy. He raised me in the Larry Bird day. Well, he raised me. He didn't raise me. He raised me as a basketball fan. My mother is still upset with my Uncle Mike because my first word was basketball, right? I grew up a Celtics fan.
Wow. That's a big word, but, a preview of being a haughty intellectual, throwing out the multi-syllable word as your first word, braggart.
What do you want? I'm a sports guy first and foremost, always have been. So I like the Celtics. I like the C's. I've always liked the C's. But, the Nets are going, it's going to be, I'd say Celtics win in 7, honestly.
Does Kevin Durant have a fan base? Because I can't stand Kevin Durant, and I'm going to root against him, whatever team he's on, especially because he went to Golden State, and as a result that year I had to wear a dress as a lost bet. So, and as Colonel Grudge, I find reasons to go against someone, especially someone who's a front runner, had to go somewhere else to win a championship, and then, has burner accounts. Those are things that make me want to root against you. And Kyrie thinks the earth is flat. So, there's that.
That should make me mad, not you, as a haughty intellectual.
Hey, I am not anti-science, okay? Even though you may think I am, I'm not.
So, I'll tell you when Katie lost me. About a week and a half ago. Now, I was neutral towards Kevin Durant, right? Wasn't for or against him, but I was neutral. I'm like, all right, if he wins, he wins. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I don't really care. Like LeBron, I got feelings towards. Other guys' feelings against. I was very neutral on Katie. Because again, maybe this is soft-hearted, bleeding heart, Rob. I don't really hold, unless they are just egregious, I don't really hold the personality flaws of guys like Katie against them, right? Because Katie's never lived in the real world. Katie's gotten that pampered treatment since he was a middle school basketball player. He's never lived in the real world. LeBron's never lived in the real world. LeBron, as a freshman in high school, was hailed as a prodigy and has been that way ever since. They've never lived in the real world. I'll tell you when Katie lost me. At home a couple of weeks ago, Katie was defending an inbound on the Nets side. A Nets fan, and by the way, in a game they were losing, a Nets fan yelled, "KD, time to take this game over." No, sorry. He said, you've got to take this game over. Said, Kevin, time to take this game over. Kevin looked at the Nets fan, a fan of his own team, and said, it's time for you to shut the bleep up and sit down. So that's your guy. That guy paid money to watch you play.
Wow, I can't say that I've ever been more surprised in my entire life.
Yeah, right? The only thing that would have been less surprising is if that guy would have got a tweet from @KD61792463844 that afternoon saying, stop yelling at Kevin. He's sensitive. Kevin, time for you to take over this game. Time for you to shut the blank up and sit down. Kevin, that guy's on your side, dude. That guy's there for you, bro. Chill, maybe? Anyway, Nets v. Celtics starts on Sunday. They are in. The Timberwolves are in as well. Timberwolves are in as well. They go last night and get a 109-104 win over the Clippers. And by the way, the impressive part of that, at least to me, was the fact that they effectively did it with very little out of Karl Anthony Towns. Big Cat went 3 of 11 from the floor, 0 of 2 from the arc, and 5 of 6 from the stripe. 11 points on the night. Grabbed 5 total rebounds, 3 assists, a pair of steals, no block, 4 turnovers. Not a great showing from KAT, but Anthony Edwards gave him 30, and D'Angelo Russell gave him 29, 12 off of the bench for Malik Beasley. We talked yesterday. I told you yesterday. I think the era of the super team is closing, right? There may still be a team that pops up here and there and is able to figure it out. But I think the era of the super team is closing because we have kind of gotten to a point now where I think that buildings aren't big enough to house the egos of multiple top-tier players. The NBA, I've went on this rant before. The NBA's biggest problem, in my opinion, is the fact that the NBA is failing to promote anything other than superstars, right? All they promote is their superstars. Go watch any NBA commercial this year. Any of them, where they're hyping a game, whether it's, the NBA on TNT or ESPN, ABC, Game Night. Go watch any promo for an NBA game. And do you know what you see? You see, coming up Friday night, Kyrie Irving and the Nets take on LeBron James and the Lakers. And there's very little outside of the stars. And so fans start to connect with stars, not teams, right? They start to connect with stars, not teams. I would be willing to take a stab that says a guy who has recently started wearing Lakers gear. Not because he's a Lakers fan, but because he's a Braun guy. I would bet you know somebody who has recently started wearing Nets gear. Not because they've ever even been to Brooklyn, but because they're a KD guy or a Kyrie guy. Yes, they exist. There's like 9.
All right. Do you have a problem with that? Because I know some people who have a problem with that, who describe fandom as something other than that. And I don't have a problem with that. If you're a fan of a player, wear that guy's jersey. You're spending your money. That's up to you.
I don't have a problem with it from the fans because I get it. There are players that I like outside of my team, right? I like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I enjoy watching Giannis play. I think his game is unique. I think his mentality. Have you ever heard the story of him and his Oreos, Lonzo?
I don't know that I have, but I know there's probably someone listening who absolutely has not.
I can't play the audio because I didn't get a chance. I didn't know I was going to bring it up, so I didn't get the chance to censor it. But Giannis in a news conference was telling a story about how after he got into the league and started making money, he said I love Oreo cookies. Love Oreo cookies. He said, and I was sitting down with a teammate one day, and I was eating Oreos. He said, when I got money, I started eating Oreos like all the time. Like they were an unhealthy obsession for me. I was eating them all the time. And he said, I hit a point one day where I ate an Oreo, and I was like, I think I'm over these cookies, man. I'm over Oreos. And I was about to throw the thing away. And he said, one of my teammates said, whoa, before you do that, have you ever tried dunking them in milk? Giannis was like, what? He said, you ever tried dunking them in milk? So Giannis was like, well, I didn't want to get rid of the Oreos. So I took one and I dropped the cookie into a cup of milk. And he was like, no, you don't drop it in there. You dunk it. He goes, so I took a spoon and I fished out that Oreo and I ate it. And his exact response was, what the hell? This is delicious. He goes, I learned about dunking Oreos in milk and I lost my mind. That's all I did for weeks. He said pregame, I was like, can I get a bag of Oreos and a couple of glasses of milk? And listening to him and the story's not so funny until you hear him tell it, but like I said, he cusses a couple of times in it, and I don't want to take the risk of getting bumped. But it's not so much the story itself, but he looked like an 8-year-old kid who just discovered Oreos in milk in the body of a 6'11", 280-pound man. I love this guy. I love Giannis because he's like a real dude. I love this guy. But if Giannis and the Bucks play the Pelicans, let's go Pels, right? Let's go beat that guy. I don't have a problem with fans doing that because I do it. My problem is not that fans are fans of dudes instead of teams. My problem is that the NBA sets it up so that they put themselves on display as a league of superstars with other guys around them, instead a league with some really good basketball teams that superstars play on. And it creates this kind of evolving cycle where dudes are fans only of their stars. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307 says, every sports league promotes their stars. Come on, Rob Brown.
Yeah,
Right.
see, that's what I was going to say. At least in the NFL, it's usually the quarterback. It's almost always the quarterback. You know, stinking Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are playing the New Orleans Saints. I mean, and they will say, whoever your quarterback, it's Jameis now. Yeah, they'll do that. So in every sport, in PGA, they do that. When Tiger's playing, he's the guy that they're pointing out that he's there because people love stars.
And I agree with you, but here's my point. And you just used what I think is a case example for the point I'm making. What happens to golf when Tiger leaves?
There are other people who play golf?
I understand that, but they don't.
No, that was a question.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It is a statement from me and a question from you. What happens to golf when Tiger's not there anymore? And all you've promoted, right? Even the Masters this year, and I'm partially guilty because I talked about Tiger, but I think Tiger was in kind of a unique position this year. But if I'm not promoting Rory and Scotty and Ricky and Bubba and Bryson and DJ and JT and all these other guys, when Tiger leaves, people go, I don't know who Dustin Johnson is. Why am I going to watch him play golf? But if you use Tiger's platform to promote those guys too, then hopefully some of those guys that are Tiger fans and watch Tiger Woods long enough go, I need a new guy. How about this DJ guy? The guy that got asked last year, can you still party with the young guys? And went, blank, yeah, I can. That's my guy now, right? Bryson DeChambeau. Big Bry, the science guy. That's my dude. That's the guy I'm following after Tiger's gone. That's because I followed these guys. The NBA, I don't think, does that. Like I said, if I go right now and I asked you, Lonzo, to name me an LA Laker outside of Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, or LeBron James, could you do it? And I'm not I am putting you on the spot to some degree. But if I ask you, can you name anybody else on the Lakers outside of those three guys? Can you do it? No. And that's not just you. That's a lot of people.
Admittedly, I haven't followed it this year the way that I have in years past, so I might have been able, if you asked me last year, I might have been able to throw a name out.
Sure. Hey, Carmelo Anthony is on that roster. Dwight Howard is on that roster. The hustle monster, Austin Reeves, is on that roster. Right? Why? The point that I'm making here is, look, I just turned on TV. I got Screaming A talking about the Warriors and the Nuggets. What's the only question he's asking? Not breaking down the game. What's the questions he's asking? Can the Warriors beat the Nuggets without Stephen Curry?
Yeah, I was going to say, is Steph going to be back in time to play?
That's it. It's the only thing to talk about is Steph Curry.
So even if you just follow the NBA loosely, you know that Steph Curry is hurt right now.
Right.
Just like you know that Luka
problem.
Doncic is hurt.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
This segment, right? If you're just tuning by and you come by and they don't promote the Golden State Warriors, they promote Steph Curry. And this isn't on the NBA, but it is in the environment the NBA culture has created. If you're flipping channels and you see this and you see Steph Curry is out for the Warriors, there's going to be no shortage of people who are going to go, well, if Steph's not playing, why am I going to watch, right? If Steph's not there, why am I going to watch? They're not talking about Clay and Draymond and Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins and the rest of the guys that are good basketball players on this roster that now got to pull up the slack if Steph Curry doesn't play. All they're talking about is Steph Curry. And if the injury list comes out on Saturday morning and says Steph Curry is unavailable for the game tonight, you might have a lot of people who go, well, if Steph's not playing, I'm not watching. You're missing out on basketball. This is the culture that I'm talking about in the NBA that they are promoting, that they only promote superstars and not teams. And that sucks because there's a lot of good basketball. The other thing it does is, what's the one complaint I hear about old basketball fans who talk smack about the NBA? Oh, it's an individuals league now. It's all about points. It's all about that one guy. It's really not, though. The two teams that met in the NBA Finals last year were the two best teams in basketball. Devin Booker's really good. I don't think anybody's putting D Book as as the best player in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo, there are going to be some people who say he is. But the Suns and the Bucks didn't make it to the NBA Finals because they had the best superstars playing individual basketball. They made it to the Finals because they were clearly the best two teams in basketball. Sincere question, Lonzo. In your scrolls around sports talk television the last few days, how much Suns or Bucks coverage have you seen? The defending finalists and runner-up, how much have you seen people talking about the Suns and the Bucks?
0.
Thank you. Who are they talking about? The Lakers,
who
aren't in the playoffs.
The Lakers, yeah.
The Lakers, who aren't in the playoffs. Steph Curry, who may or may not be available in round number 1. And the Brooklyn Nets, who are the 7 seed. That's it. That's all they've talked about. Why are you not talking about the Suns with the best record in the NBA? Because there's no drama individually. You got Devin Booker and Chris Paul, who play together exceptionally well. You got the rest of those guys who know their role under Booker and Paul. They're a great team, and there's no drama. God, I wish we'd go back to talking about teams that were good instead of the drama of individuals. I do not need another segment on Kyrie Irving. I've gotten plenty. By the way, remember 4 minutes ago when I told you that Screamin' A was asking the question, can Steph Curry, or can the Warriors win without Steph Curry? The segment they just did on that one conversation just went off the screen. That was 5 minutes of that conversation. 5 minutes on that conversation. There's no more compelling NBA story with the play-in games happening last night, tonight, and tomorrow to determine who gets in than can the Warriors win without Steph Curry? And by the way, hardly mentioned Clay or Draymond or Jordan or Andrew or any of the other guys. Kevin Looney, one of 5 guys to play all 82. Didn't mention him. Wonder why? Because there's no drama. The NBA is about individual drama more than team success, and it's a bummer. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you, this is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Miss Lisa. Oh, much easier shot today. There it is.
So, my tendency is take a step to the right with the foot. Take a step to the right with the foot. Still went left. Still went left. Went even further left. Not wearing the proper footwear for a shot with something that's round. As per our earlier conversation, the problem is a lot of those conversations are forgotten even when they're brought up later because it's me speaking. Because I am invisible. And don't break out the violins, I'm used to it.
Okie dokie.
I guess it's breaking news. Former Georgia quarterback JT Daniels is transferring to West Virginia.
Saw that just a minute ago. The former Georgia quarterback / former USC quarterback is now going to reunite with Graham Harrell up at West Virginia, committed to that transfer. Earlier today, that news was broken by DogNation.com earlier today. Daniel said, I love Georgia, and Georgia has always loved me since I've been here. It's really, really good and supportive fan base. I'm very, very thankful. I had no problems adjusting. I wouldn't even consider it an adjustment. Everyone here has been good and honest and good people, end quote. Daniels went 7-0 as Georgia's starting quarterback in his 2 seasons with the program, setting school marks for passing efficiency and yards per attempt before being sidelined by upper body injuries last fall. Of course, Stetson Bennett IV, who, by the way, Lonzo, got some wiggle in him.
He does.
He got some wiggle in him.
Did you know breaking news is brought to you by
our friends at BetQL, which I was absolutely going to get there. BetQL, get smarter, beat the books, be a better with BetQL. And make sure you listen to all of BetQL's outstanding broadcast, except for that one.
Oh, no. No, you need to listen to the nationally syndicated. You know, other people can have syndication. Yeah, you might be in 2 places, maybe 3, but not nationally syndicated like Rob Brown.
It's true.
What's the name of that show, Rob?
It's damn true. It is called Betting the Cycle. It's a pun. And I love it. It's a baseball pun.
Every Saturday.
1 to 5 Eastern on all your favorite BetQL stations, including WTPT3 HD Radio right here in Greenville, or you can grab the Odyssey app, AUDACY, put it on all your digital devices, search, first and foremost, The Fan Upstate, click the little heart icon, it'll add that to your listenership, then search BetQL Network, click the little heart icon there, and you can go live with me every Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. alongside my co-host Cody Decker as we give you all the inside baseball, and I mean that literally, that you can handle. It is a baseball gambling show that also devolves into topics like, was Lisa Turtle underrated as a 90s chick? Was Kelly Kapowski as big as we thought that she was at the time?
Big as in, not big, but
no, Kelly Kapowski was perfect in every way, shape, and form, and I will hear that's not true. That's not true. All right? What she did to Zach when she started dating a college professor was unacceptable, unexcusable. It was the one mistake Kelly Kapowski made, leaving Zach for a creepy college professor.
Was that during the college years or before
No.
that? Okay.
That was towards the end of the initial run.
I was out of the demographic.
Yeah, no, I know,
I'm
it's fine.
aware of the show and everything and watched a bunch of episodes, but not into it the way you were.
Listen, Zach Morris was a terrible person, all right? And saying he was anything but a terrible person would be a lie. But Zach learned his lessons. Yes, he did learn his lessons at the end of every episode. And then the next episode, he came back and did something that was slightly more jackass-ish. Every week.
But he got to talk to the camera, didn't he?
Time out. If you wanted a superpower, that's the one, right? The ability to just call time out and have the entire world stop around you. That's the one. Time in. Kelly Kapowski dumping Zach for a creepy... And don't get me wrong. That college professor was the biggest creep in the world. All right? I mean, I can't entirely blame Kelly Kapowski because she got crept on and was young and dumb. She was in high school. We all do dumb stuff in high school. But Zach was your ride or die at that point. And you dumped him for a creepy college professor. What is wrong with you? Texter says, give me Topanga or give me death. Yes, Topanga came up on Betting the Cycle last Saturday as well. Actually, Topanga started the conversation because when Cody and I realized that our producer, Super Mario, was 23 years old, my first response was, you're not old enough to have had a crush on Topanga like the rest of us. And then it devolved into Topanga v. Kelly Kapowski. Who you got? And it's a dude by dude subjective state, right? Topanga versus Kelly Kapowski. Topanga ultimately probably was too much for most dudes to handle, right? You had a wild side to Topanga. Remember, the first time we met Topanga, she was putting on war paint lipstick to show Cody how much of a badass she was. And don't get me wrong, she was. And she grew into that role.
I'm going to point out I've never watched that show.
Boy Meets World?
Yeah. But again, demographics here. That's this is appealing to young Rob.
Sure.
Lonzo already old then.
Boy Meets World was the natural successor to Saved by the Bell, right? It was like Saved by the Bell, but it focused on one kid instead of a group. But Topanga was a smoke show, no doubt about it. But you had to be a very, very secure dude to get with Topanga. Topanga would chew you up and spit you out. Kelly Kapowski was everybody's girl next door, right? Head cheerleader, sweetheart, somewhat assertive. But you wouldn't have to be able to deal with it to deal with Kelly Kapowski. That's why I'm a Topanga guy. Topanga did not need you to stick up for her. She had you covered. Kelly Kapowski, you had to stick up for a little bit.
Steven on the stream says there's only one Kelly Bundy.
Kelly Bundy, who also came up on the show. Because that's what you're getting when you tune in to Betting the Cycle on the BetQL Network Saturdays from 1 to 5. Kelly Bundy.
And baseball.
Texter said, Corey, not Cody. Well, I was talking about Cody Decker, who is my co-host on Betting the Cycle. If I flip names, that's on me. Corey Matthews, of course, the star of Boy Meets World. And I believe they recently did a spinoff called Girl Meets World about the daughter of Corey and Topanga, going through her coming-of-age story. Texter says, Corey, not Cody, you fake fan. Yeah, again, Cody Decker, Corey Matthews. Another texter says, Zach Morris is trash. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. AC Slater should have been the leader of that group. He got talked into some bad stuff.
Come on,
by Zach.
Screech should have been the leader of that group. The haughty, intellectual Screech.
Screech was too much of a pushover, man. As many times as Screech let Lisa Turtle take advantage of him, right? Like the chief of that tribe can't be the dude who gets walked over twice an episode by the same woman every time. At some point, you've got to label Screech a simp.
And out of the three on that show, Lisa was the best.
Lisa was, are you kidding me? Lisa was a terrible person. Not only was she the most superficial and materialistic person you've ever met, but on top of that, repeatedly took advantage of Screech and his feelings for her, only to leave him high and dry again, and then at the end, get what she wants anyways. Lisa Turtle was a terrible person. She might have been the only one worse than Zach.
So unrealistic, because that sort of thing never happens in real life. So
it does, and we should call those people terrible people to their face. Stop walking over people for your own betterment, Lisa.
But if you're in high school and you're that nerd and you get to hang with those people, I mean, that doesn't normally happen.
Don't victim shame Screech like that. You put this on Screech.
I'm not saying he was above his level. I'm saying he was smart enough to be with that group. He was with the popular kids, even though he shouldn't have been there. That shows how and why he should have been the lead of that group.
All they ever did was take advantage of Screech. That's all they ever did. Screech was only in that group because they're like, oh, smart guy can get us out of jams. He was not accepted into the group. He just got him out of jams. But we all know the hero of that show was, of course, Max. Max from The Max, who gave them great solid life advice. Or Mr. Belding. Mr. Belding got a lot of crap from Zach, and he was yet always there for them to teach them their life lessons. Mr. Belding was a hero.
I would have went with Golick from the college years, but that's just me.
I remember that. Mike Golick was on the college years.
It wasn't Mike. It was his brother.
Ah, that's right. Whatever one it was.
Yeah, is it Bob? Was it Bob? I think it might have been Bob. It was, yeah, but it was his brother. They looked alike a little bit back then, but he was the cooler Golick.
Let's see. Saved by the Bell, the college years cast. Bob Golick. That's right. Bob Golick as Mike Rogers. All right, that's enough of that. How did JT Daniels take us to Betting for the Cycle, take us to Saved by the Bell, take us to Bob Golick? Welcome to the Rob Brown Show, ladies and gentlemen.
Now we can take us to a break.
Controlled chaos at its finest. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we will break down tonight's two NBA play-in games. Winners of tonight take on the losers from yesterday for the last two spots in the NBA playoffs. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. It is amazing that when we go on random rants like that, our viewership and text received all go up every time.
Also, every testament to and a good way to find out what the demographic is at that point.
Oh yeah.
I know I keep talking about demographics, but
very clearly dudes from the 90s.
If that goes through that TV, I've seen you drop your phone and your pins and all that stuff. Okay, it's a small bat though. I mean,
Hands behind the
I don't know, guys. What do you think about Rob's form there? And should he be taking the bat with him out in the hallway?
Push hitter. I'm a push hitter.
He took the bat with him out in the hallway. I don't know what that means. But if you're in the hallway, clear out. He's going Sting on somebody. Or Jericho or whatever the bat of your choice. I always feel my age when Rob goes 90s kid, since I was, an 80s kid. I don't think those bats are actually corked, Darth. I think they're pretty solid. Not that I've ever been hit with one, but it's a good question. I mean, you could go Mr. Sacco probably at the time when that was pretty big. Most iconic wrestling prop. Yeah, I can see that too. Although I wonder, would Jake the Snake, would Damien be considered a prop since it's was a living being? Seb has asked, what is the most iconic wrestling prop? Since you went in the hallway with the bat, and I didn't know if you were going Sting or if you were going. I don't know. Is a
mask a prop or is it part of the wardrobe?
I don't know.
No, those are different.
Dark Chosen just said Stone Cold's beer. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, technically that's a prop because that's part of his gimmick. True. Does it have to be have the ability to be used as a weapon?
Not part of the wardrobe. Because if so, I go Sting's face paint. Right? Anybody could put on Sting. Well, no, because you might think it's the Crow if you don't watch wrestling.
True. Who worms from the boogeyman? I'm the boogeyman.
24-inch pythons, brother.
No, I don't think it can be a part of your anatomy or something that you. Yeah, it's got to be an extra something. Yeah.
John Cena's invisibility cloak. Boogeyman's worms. That's a good suggestion. Hacksaw Duggan's 2x4.
Yeah, see, that's a good one too, and
that's a good one. But I don't know if it goes all because
that's fairly classic.
Got to the top of the credit he deserved.
He made it on the WWF cartoon.
Yeah.
He was at Comic-Con a couple years ago, and
Hacksaw?
Yeah, he was there. I would love to have the boogeyman in studio just sitting over there with worms coming out of his mouth. He doesn't have to do anything. We can just put him on the stream for the entire 3 hours of the show. The first one I said you weren't in the room was Mr. Sacco. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
The Rock and Sock connection. Mr. Sacco. I got one for you.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if it was called anything.
Santino the Cobra.
Cobra.
All right, putting a nice little bow on the Wednesday edition of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob, he's Lonzo. You're you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Real quick, before I get into basketball, the USFL has started play. And I'm going to be real with you, Lonzo. I have watched 0 minutes of it so far. And that's not to say I don't want it to succeed.
I thought its debut was this weekend. I didn't realize that it already happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's started. And the league is rolling out some interesting stuff, including, and this may shock you, first down measurement technology. That is to say, there is a chip in the football. There are chip readers on the sideline. These chips measure exactly where the ball is when a player goes down and are being used to measure close first downs. It is so easy to do that an upstart football league like the USFL managed to work it in. Not the NFL, not the show. The little bit of USFL has managed to work this in. They have implanted chips in the football to determine if the balls reach the first down marker. It's not incredibly new. Pro Football Talk reported that the NFL has chips in their football already used for next-gen stats and tracking data. However, the league does not think the chip will be accurate enough to determine first downs in a game. So the USFL is testing it out.
And so it begins.
You think first down chips are our downfall?
It starts with the chips, then the chips get bigger, they get more self-aware.
Soon they're able to tell you exactly where your car is. Oh, wait, already used that literally this morning.
Did you have to use that to find your car? Was you having a rough night?
Got wild after that Bon Jovi show.
Yeah.
Me and all the other Bon Jovi fans hit up the bingo hall after the concert, and it got a little crazy.
Didn't know you could drink too much Geritol. Now I know.
I'm for it. Also on the broadcast, Fox is considering, who is broadcasting a lot of the USFL games, Fox is considering, Lonzo, doing, you remember a few years ago when, I want to say it was NBC, had the NHL broadcast, and they lit up the hockey puck, right? So you could follow it around on the screen, because that's a big complaint a lot of non-hockey fans have is, oh, the puck moves so fast, it's hard to keep up sometimes. So they lit it up. They had it glow, and when they would shoot it across the rink, it would leave a little trail behind it. The USFL is considering lighting up the football on their broadcast.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
Oh, that's right. I had a really good pun joke there, though.
Yeah, I tried to let it go. I tried. I really tried.
All right, I'm going to get the pun joke out anyway because I
Do
want
it.
to.
It's your show.
They're considering lighting up the football in USFL. Do you know what that means they are going to name their championship game? The Chernobyl. Ah! World-class content
Wow.
here, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
I'm glad you got that one in there. All right. Time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending in Chernobyl, as far as I know. Not trending. Krispy Kreme is trending.
Krispy Kreme. Is it National Donut Day?
No, here's what Krispy Kreme is doing on Wednesdays, and there's a limit of 2 dozens because of the extreme gas prices.
Yeah.
They are taking the average gas price and pricing a dozen donuts.
Oh.
So right now, a dozen donuts are $4.11.
That combined with, and I don't know if they're doing it around here. I know in Pensacola they're doing it right now. On Fridays, they are making chocolate glazed donuts. So like the traditional Krispy Kreme hot now glaze, but chocolate instead. Your boy and the lady friend have recently started a, let's actually get serious about it this time diet. I'm down 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, this is going to ruin that.
You could just, take a couple bites. You don't have to buy but if you're
No,
if you want to buy a dozen, they're $4.11, limit of 2. The next thing is trending is Aaron Rodgers.
So Aaron Rodgers, this video going around, Aaron Rodgers was participating in, and I don't know who it was with or what it was for, a flag football game, and a player picked off Aaron Rodgers in the end zone, ran back to Aaron, flipped him the football, started running down the field celebrating, and then Aaron Rodgers just beamed him with the rock.
He didn't really, though. I mean, it's not. If you compare this to what
Aaron Rodgers,
he didn't Peyton Manning him.
Right.
I mean, we all saw what Peyton Manning did to that kid.
But my favorite part is people are like, would you have the audacity to taunt? Yes! Yes, if I picked off an NFL quarterback in a flag football game,
And
I would autograph the ball before I gave it back to him.
And if Aaron really wanted to hit you,
His head would have come off.
Yes, it would have.
I would autograph the ball and hand it back to him. Texas says, that was a bad joke, but I appreciate it. You are welcome. That is the type of quality content that wins us trophies, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a break. No, let's just take a break for 21 hours. 21-hour break. And we're back after this with a Thursday edition. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. We appreciate it. Hey, if you like the show, share it with your friends. We need listeners. I crave them. Share us with your friends. Let them know about the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Thank you, stream. You guys are the best. I appreciate you more than I can tell you. We'll see you tomorrow.